Welcome back to the channel. This is JC Audits here with a podcast for you today. It's going to be short and shit, this podcast. Not of my usual standard, but the material in it, and I hope is going to outweigh that, because we're going to talk about a very, very interesting person today called Son of SASSY. Now, Son of SASSY, his real name I don't know, but he's a very interesting person, and he is a person, flesh and blood, just like me, no better, no worse. Born in Seaforth, near the Doric pub, I believe. Seaforth being near Bootle in Liverpool, UK. I think he's since moved out of Seaforth now, if I remember correctly. Could be living in Highton. I might be mistaken there. Son of SASSY is a sort of guy you'd like to sit down with and have a pint with and have a chat with for a very long time. He does like debates. He's told me, and he's not afraid to speak his mind, and he's also, I think, very knowledgeable on a range of topics. He says he's interested in all different kinds of religions, and that really comes through in the way he posts. He doesn't claim to be a Christian. However, I think a lot of his beliefs seem to have a Christian thread running through them. I might be mistaken in that, and forgive me, Son of SASSY, if I'm painting you in a wrong light here. Let's go ahead and just take a look at some of his posts. I've just got this phone here. Let's have a look here. It's Son of SASSY. This is 3 weeks ago. This particular thread, I think, is the reason why I'm doing this podcast of Son of SASSY, because I think it's just so damn interesting, and I didn't give him the credit at the time. I didn't respond to his comments. He probably knocks these out. Probably takes him a couple of seconds to write, but for me, they're quite pithy. Let's just have a read of this. The African Bible is older than the King James Bible. African Christianity predates European Christianity. Well, you can kind of understand that if Christianity started around the Middle East, in around Jerusalem, it's already pretty close to the African landmass, isn't it? More close than Europe. So Africans were Christians while Europeans were still worshipping pagan gods. I don't think anyone doubts that. I say that blah blah blah. That's interesting. I'm just trying to get SASSY to open up and give me some sources here, which he does. Thank you very much, SASSY. SOS, as I like to call him. I would Google the Ethiopian Bible. There are many more books in the Ethiopian Bible, 80 books. As for reliable sources, the Ethiopian Bible itself. Has he read it? I think he has read it. Basically saying, why hide the knowledge from the original book? Lots of hidden books in the King James version, as in lots of books that were not published in the King James. That's apparent in the Ethiopian Bible. And I ask him, is the Gospel of Thomas one of those? Yeah, the Ethiopian Bible has every book that King James has. It also has 20 more books. It's 1,400 years older than the KJB. Is it really? Wow. Can't be that older than that. KJB. You're saying the KJB was printed around 600? Oh. No, KJB was. Yeah, if the KJB was printed around 1400, then yeah, that would kind of. I thought the KJB was slightly later than that. We're like 1700s, but obviously I'm wrong. Be interesting to find out. How much of it have you read? What books in it have you read? Sorry about the focus on this, lads. Let's try and get a better focus. Here we go. How much of it have you read? I have read it in full once. I go back to different scriptures from time to time. There are lots of knowledge in the West. A lot of knowledge that the West doesn't want us to know. Who is the West? I mean, who do you mean in particular when you say the West? Western media, Western government, King James himself changed the original Bible, removing whole books from the Bible. The media controls a lot of what we know. Majority of people believe whatever they say. Every nation has agendas, west or east, north or south. The truth is withheld because layman can't know the truth. And I ask, a lot of what you say seems true, but could a layman go about seeking the truth and then happen to find it? Yes, of course they can. Many do not. Many will take another man's word as gospel. I do not believe in Christianity, although I have read the Bible, King James, and the Ethiopian. Shamanistic religions appeared long before any modern religions all over the world without being spread. By the way, Son of Sassy does not talk remotely like this. He's a Scouser through and through. It's just me just differentiating my own voice with SOS's voice. All over the world without being spread by human word and war. So he's saying shamanistic appeared long ago without being spread by human word and war, as in unlike Christianity. It was a naturally occurring sequence of events that happened in the Americas, Europe, Africa, and Asia, all around the same time. All use different names for their gods. But their stories are all the same. All end in floods as well. I believe to see the future, one must look into the past. Currently, the world is full of sin and greed. Eventually, our planet will correct this with a great catastrophe. Will you find yourself on top of the mountain? Or will the waters cleanse your soul? So let me just read that one again. Just the last bit. I want to make sure I understand this, because I think this is critical to understanding SOS's worldview. Let's just, because I didn't like it. I didn't even give this guy a heart for spilling his Weltanschauung here on this channel, and I feel that this particular post is the reason why I'm doing this podcast, because it contains so much. So he's talking about shamanistic religions, and he says it was a naturally occurring sequence of events that happened in the Americas, Europe, Africa, and Asia all around the same time. So presumably shamanistic religions all use different names for their gods, but their stories are all the same. All end in floods as well. And a lot of what he's saying, in fact, everything what he's saying, as far as I know, and I don't know anything about history, this is just about one book that I've read by, what's his face? His name escapes me, but he's a Jewish guy, Yuval Noah Harari, I believe, called Sapiens. I've read his book, and that's where I get all my world history from. So, so I'm just comparing it to that, basically. So, all end in floods as well. And I think what SOS is saying is absolutely spot on true. I believe, now this is interesting, I believe to see the future, so he obviously places credence and on seeing the future, one must look into the past. Okay, well, he's just saying also history is important. Currently, the world is full of sin. Well, no shit. Of course it's full of sin and greed. Well, fuck yeah. Of course it's full of sin and greed. I mean, even Christians would agree that. Eventually our planet will correct this with a great catastrophe. Okay. So the, what's that, the Oblivion, these the environmentalists of Extinction Rebellion, sorry. They're obviously talking about great catastrophe and greenhouse effects and Mars-like thing wiping off all life. But I say all life, all human life. Cockroaches, etc., likely to survive. Earthworms probably as well, and a few other things. But yeah, great catastrophe, maybe for mankind. Will you find yourself on top of the mountain? This is the challenge from... Oh, shit. Just put in my password. Will you find yourself on top of the mountain? And this is the most fascinating bit about SOS by far. Will you find yourself on top of the mountain? So what? I mean, it's very biblical what he's saying. It's very almost preacher-like. Will you find yourself on top of the mountain? It's almost something that a preacher / pastor / vicar might say at the end of a sermon. Will you find yourself on top of the mountain, or will the waters cleanse your soul? So will the waters kill you, in fact? Or it's not actually what he's saying. Will the waters cleanse your soul? Soul meaning that you're probably passed away if you're only a soul. However, it's very, very poetic what he's saying, and very intoxicatingly fascinating. I challenge any of you to disagree with me. But let's not dwell too much on that. I would love SOS to just, if he does comment on this podcast, just to the last 2 sentences, just for him to flesh that out. Very interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. But I just want to scoot over to something that he said more recently. So that was 3 weeks ago. Bless him, I replied to that. And he keeps contributing to this channel. I'm absolutely so lucky that he does. Like I say, he gives a wealth of information. Not only that, he actually supports me. It gives me a lot of moral support, which I'm so grateful to as well. Here he's talking about a local con man called Rob Salmon. There you go, grew up in Seaforth, near the Doric pub. Politics is controversial. Let's have a little look at this. Politics is controversial. It causes debates, blah, 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 blah. Slaves to Amazon saved a lot. This is absolutely true, isn't it? But if only we could unite, and there's me talking about what would make us unite and all that. Lone person. Who's this actually? Oh, that's me. Sorry, I thought that was SOS. This bit is me. Sorry, I apologize. There's much truth in your words. Lone person, blah, blah, blah. Target the villains. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? General elections do not work. Politicians are corrupt. Actually, I didn't particularly want to read this bit. Please stay with me. This is a lot of what he's... This is actually where I first start talking to him, I think, in depth. Let's see if there's any... Look, here we go. JC Audits. Okay, here I'm just asking him to, giving him some credit. I see a great reset coming. World is full of sin. The floods will come. Oh, here we go. Our greed will be our downfall. The hope is after the cataclysm the world has faced. The hope is after every cataclysm the world has faced, so far life finds a way, as in a way to survive. I don't think humans can ever fix the problems. So dark to say that we created, as we are a destructive species. Wow. You've heard of invasive species. Humans are destructive species. Hopefully, the lucky few that survive the coming floods will forget about capitalism and greed and become enlightened in the way of the universe. And I've given him absolutely no feedback to him. I don't think I've actually read this one. To my shame, I don't think I've read this post. So the coming floods will forget. So he's essentially SOS is and it's interesting, SOS. It now makes sense why he's called himself SOS, because there's a Holocaust coming. There's a cataclysm, apocalypse, I should say, coming, and it's going to be a flood apocalypse, just like all the other apocalypses in history. And he believes that there will be humans that survive. So he does. I don't know whether this is soon or later. And he reckons that there'll be a reset, and that enlightened humans will survive and will in fact hopefully forget about capitalism and greed. And doesn't that fit in with being a Scouse? Because Scousers are so against capitalism and greed, aren't they? But this is not quite what I wanted to show you, because he has given a nice recent post. Damn, where is it? He talks about Jesus's colour, which is quite awesome. He believes that Jesus actually wasn't white. But we don't really want to mention that right now. Or do we? Multi-planet species? Let's have a look at this. Oh, yeah. So here he's having a back and forth with Black and White Audits, who I hope to feature in this channel before long. Christians. Oh, yeah, here we go. I don't think I read this as well, which again is shameful of me. If there was no religion and we see each other as human beings, there would never have been slaves. Christians are responsible for murdering thousands of pagan believers and the Crusades. They invented the concentration camp. Okay, so the British invented something that the Nazi Party then popularised. Still being used by North Koreans and Chinese to this day. Remember that when you get your Chinese takeaway? For all the good religion has done, the negative outweighs it. And that's another important fact about SOS. He's not pro-religion as such. He's sort of like this apocalypse type thing, but he's obviously fascinated by religion, as am I. That's Black and White Audits. We won't dwell on his posts because I want to cover them at a later date. I must disagree with Son of Sassy here. Should we apologise to those? This is me. To those upset. Okay. Okay. Humanity. So Sassy reckons we can unify people in the here and now under the banner of humanity. And for some reason I'm saying, should we apologise to Homo erectus and Homo neanderthalis? Well, Homo means human, essentially. Well, I know it means same, but, in this context it means human. But he's saying it doesn't mean human, and I disagree with him. I think Homo erectus, Homo florentiensis, Homo heidelbergensis, Homo erectus, Homo neanderthalis, Homo naledi. They're all human species, along with the Homo sapiens. But he's saying they're not humans, brother. They're just hominids. Well, we are hominids, but we're also humans. But something like I can't even say the word. Lucy, she was Australopithecus afarensis. That is a hominid, but not a human, if you know what I mean. Right, okay. I hope I made myself clear, but that is... I do like SOS, but I do disagree with them on that one minor point. And indeed, SOS has said, JC Audits, I'm also not all-knowing. And on that humongous podcast, which isn't short and sweet, it's long and shit, I want to thank you. I want to thank especially Son of Sassy. Thank you so much for his contributions. I love them. If I haven't, acknowledged you, it's because I wanted to big you up and feature you at a later date, because I think a lot of what you write, or pretty much all of what you write, I think deserves highlighting and deserves a little bit more scrutiny than just a cursory look. I want other people to notice it. I want other people's feedback on it if they dare. And big up Son and Sassy. I love that you're Scouser. Yeah, I just really appreciate your support as well. You've been really cool. You didn't know what an audit was. You saw my channel, then you kind of got an idea of what an audit was. Because I encourage you maybe to make your own videos, get a channel up there. But yeah, in the meantime, I'm very happy to have you on this channel. You're a very valued member of this channel, and I consider you a friend of the channel. Big thanks to you, SOS. And yeah, if you want to tell us more, that's fine. Particularly about the flood, and what the question I would ask you is, do you think you will be saved from the flood? You personally, as a human right now, will you be saved from the flood? And if you won't be saved, how will you, and I know appreciate you're not all-knowing, how will you help others reach the mountaintop rather than having the waters cleanse their souls? And on that note, SOS, I thank you, and I thank all the listeners, and I bid you farewell to the next podcast. JC out.